Alright, so let's do a video here. I've got the FS2Crew SOP version 3 they sent me as a beta that they just recently released or are going to release in the future here, but it's going to include the Southwest SOPs. So far, it's pretty incredible. They've got some work to do. I've been taking notes. This is like my fourth flight using this now, so I've learned a few things here. And I'm going to show you what it's like in its current beta form. This is literally the first time I have used it, in those 4 flights, but I haven't given them any feedback yet. So this is basically raw as I got it. I'm going to start giving them some notes and feedback here soon. But this is obviously what it looks like if you've never used it before. And the speech recognition is pretty incredible. All these different settings, and run through these and show you what I've changed so far. Set this stuff up, voice control. I'm going to try to do this stuff quickly, not to make this video too terribly long. Set this stuff up here. Disable FO commands. Not that. Let's see, I didn't change that. I did change a few things here. FO controls lights. Yeah. I don't want them to move the captain's lights, though. And in an instance or two, they do. I'm afraid to uncheck this, though, because I don't want them to not do their own lights. First flight of the day, let's see. Disable flight attendant. Yeah, I did that because when I do a single ding, she wants to talk to me, and I don't want her to do that because that's 2 dings for us. And so I've left that. I've turned that off. I don't know if there's a way they can change that to a double ding for the flight attendant to actually talk to you. FO sets VREF, I turned that off because on the approach, they want to put flaps 15 in, or they actually just delete my speeds completely. So I got rid of that. And there's going to be, I don't know about the center fuel pumps. I haven't done a long enough flight for that to see the difference in that yet. Hold checklist if wrong. Yeah, that's good. Although I found a few things where the switches didn't quite match the position. But anyway, that's some settings. So the first thing here, right? I'm going to say this. Let's start setting up. Hopefully she'll do it. Let's start setting up. Request ATC clearance.
Good morning. Southwest.
Okay, she's going to do that.
2864.
Let's start setting up.
Southwest 2864 is at the gate with the numbers. Requesting ATC clearance.
So obviously that was a little out of order. I wasn't sure if she was listening because I'm recording. So, but anyway, it looks like she's going to do it.
Okay, cleared to our destination as filed. Squawk code is as assigned.
Obviously, you would have done the
Southwest
clearance a little bit later.
2864. Roger.
That's obviously just some placeholder stuff for realism, right? So she's now obviously clicking some buttons, right? She's starting to go through her first initial flow. There's a couple things that I've got written down that I don't like. She puts on the #1 pump here, which is great. But then later on here, she does all her checks and tests, and then she puts on the other #1. And I don't know why they did it that way. You'll see that other #1 come on here in a second. And she also turned off all my hydraulic pumps. So I'm going to get them to fix a few things here. But yeah, so obviously she's going through her thing here. She tries to start the APU, but it doesn't actually light off for some reason.
I'm out for the walk
She's
around.
got the second pump on. So there's a few things that need to be fixed. So I'm going to go ahead and start that myself and see if I can get it to actually work. And it did give a fall. Oh, here it comes. I don't know why it doesn't light off when she does it.
Thank you for choosing to fly
I don't know why.
Shortly after takeoff,
I don't know why she turns off your engines either. That's the way that should look. And then the captain's flow is going to get that. She also doesn't turn on the IRSs, so let's do that. Because by the time she comes back and starts trying to do other checks, it's not going to work, obviously. So let's get that going. And then the position.
This
We'll wait for
aircraft
that.
is
We'll
Wi-Fi
set this up
equipped.
for her.
We hope you enjoy our free TV
Hopefully by the
and
time
movie
she
options.
comes back,
Internet
I've got all
service
this
may be
done.
purchased for
See, here's the
$8.
airport. She didn't put the
For more
ground power
information
on, so
on
now we're
accessing free
discharging. So
Wi-Fi
there's a
and
couple
our
things.
entertainment
I found
options,
this to be the
please
most
check the
clunky so
beverage
far,
menu in your
but we'll
seat
get
back
this
pocket.
worked out.
We will let you know when you may use your approved electronic
APU on the
devices.
buses.
Well, she did
Small
that,
portable
even though
electronic
she's
devices,
supposedly
such
outside.
as cell phones and tablets, may be used in
Interesting.
airplane mode during all
So now we got
phases
the
of
APU
flight.
on the bus, now that it's
Cellular
up and
functions
running,
must
although
be
we got a
turned off
fault
once the
light,
forward
which is
entry
weird.
door is closed. If you are in
Anyway,
an
she'll come back
emergency
from her
exit
pre-flight
seat,
here
please
shortly.
review the safety information
I just
card
want to
in
get
the
this
seat back pocket
aligned.
nearest you. If you do
So
not
when she
meet all
comes
of the
back, it's
selection
not
criteria on the
goofed.
card, are unable to perform the functions, or believe that performing those functions may
All
cause you
right,
harm,
I'll give
please
this a
let
few
us know
minutes and
right
then I'll
now
start
so
doing
we
my
can
own
reseat you.
flow. I'll wait till she comes back.
So as we may push back from the
And I can
gate, please
accelerate that
fasten your
slightly.
seatbelt,
You can hear
raise
Love
your
Cars
seat
maybe
back,
in the
and tray
background
table to
doing
the
their
full upright
announcements
and
with the
locked
wheel well light
position,
on,
and
so I'm
make
going to
sure
pop this
carry-on
forward a
items are
little bit.
completely under the seat in front
And
of
she'll
you
I'm
or in
back,
an
no issues
overhead
on the
now
bin,
walk
she's
around.
back
leaving the area
inside.
around your feet clear. Laptop computers and
And
portable
so it'll tell
electronic
you too. It'll
devices
give
of
you like
similar
hints
size
and
must
clues as to
also be
like
stowed
what's
at this
next.
time. If you wish to use them
So
after
she's doing
takeoff, please
more of her
stow them
flow
under
now
the
that
seat
she's
in
back
front of
in.
you.
She's going to test the ground procs, which is a
Thank you
little
for
annoying. They
choosing
do the long
Southwest
test instead
Airlines.
of the slow or the
Welcome
short.
aboard.
And we'll get off the ground and
Good
things
morning,
are going to go a
everyone.
lot more
From
smoothly
the
than
flight deck,
this,
this is
this
your
initial
captain speaking.
setup. But
I would like to
it'll
welcome
give you
you
some
aboard
clues to
Southwest
us, like
Airlines
what you can
Flight
say
503
next or
with
what
service
should
to
be
Fort
next.
Lauderdale. We will be pushing
And
back
if it's
from the
all
gate
goofed
shortly.
up, you can jump to a
Our
certain
flight time
spot,
today is
hit
1 hour
play,
and
and go to
20
that
minutes.
spot.
Thank you for flying
So
Southwest
as
Airlines.
we go through this,
Welcome aboard.
there's going to be stuff off the screen here in these things. I'll show you that occasionally from time to time. So obviously she's back in, she's doing the rest of her flow, and that all came off of, I guess they're using this. Actually what it is this dock, and it's very similar to what the VA had. And for the most part, she's doing her flows and procedures based off this dock. But as I said, there's a few things that are out of order and a few things that are a little goofed up, but we'll help get them straightened out on all of that. Alright, so I'll do my own thing here while she's doing her thing. Turn that off. I don't know, I don't need to do that really, but alright. So far so good. We'll see how she's doing here in a minute. APU's on the bus. Again, I don't know why we got a fault light there. That's kind of weird, but we'll get this figured out. Where's my test button? Alright, this is her panel. Just going to make sure that she's done everything though right now. She doesn't put the APU bleed air on. I don't know why. Maybe there's a reason for that, and I will ask those guys. She does eventually set this, so I'm going to leave that for now and come back. And pretty much just going to sit down here and start going through this. She will also set up the MCP if I do this right. So for the most part, I'm going to leave that alone. Just the way that they've got this. This is not FS2Crew.
Hi, here's the fuel slip.
Thanks.
Welcome. Have a nice flight.
Fueler. Some of this stuff is just set up the way it is based on, spawning cold, dark aircraft, right? Obviously no lights are going to actually be burnt out. And we'll get through this stuff as quickly as possible. I don't want to dally too much here. What do we got? We got, I'm going to go ahead and uplink to FMC through Love Cars, get that whole thing rolling. Our weather departures good. Altimeter's 3018. That's set. I don't know if she set that or not. So there's still a few things that I'm kind of like, did she do that? So we're figuring this out. I don't think I've ever seen her set the barrows for me. Now, presumably she's done with her flow and done everything that she's going to do. And obviously we're going to catch all that, or try to trap all that with checklists. But we'll keep going here. We'll get this going through Love Cars. That's all setting up. Obviously you heard the announcements. Now, I am going to have to, as y'all probably know, once this is all set up, I still have to do some inputs and commands myself here. And as it stands, it's just counting down in time. And it's waiting for certain things to happen before the next thing happens. Like you heard the fueler come in. So you definitely want to put in your flight number here. Otherwise, she'll just give some generic flight number, like when she calls for clearance and such, which is not really that big of a deal, but departure arrival, what are we doing? The Gandy 8 off of runway 1 right, no transition, and then into Lauderdale, we've got the Tiki 3 over Sabi, 10 left, and we'll quickly look at a chart here. The star, that's Tiki, and transition is going to be over 10 left to Hollid. So let's see if we got a Hollid. We do. So we'll do the Hollid transition. Take a look at the route. There's a discon, but we got Gandy 8, Sabi, Tiki 3 going to pairs. So we'll just, after pairs, Sabi. I'll close that discon. Just looking at this, Tampa departure. Gandy goes to Sabi, and then Lauderdale, the star. Tiki connects here at Sabi, so closing the discon there just connects it all together, so we should be in good shape there. Also Tampa departure, Gandy top altitude 6. I think she sets that. I don't want to touch any of this yet because I'm still kind of testing some of this. I wish she would turn the flight directors on. I don't think that she ever does. So for this, now you're going to see she wants to now do that, right? That's next. So what we're going to do though is there is a button here for departure. This. So I'm going to do this, set all this up real quick. And then I'm going to just click run brief, and I'll see what
Are you ready for the
she
departure
actually
brief?
does
Go
here.
ahead.
Okay, it's going to be a standard
I'm gonna
pushback
continue
and start
with
off the
all
gate.
this.
Taxi route will be as assigned by ATC. It'll be a left seat takeoff. Using an assumed temperature.
Performance.
Anti-ice will be off. We are under our maximum landing weight, so we are okay to make an immediate
So
return.
this is again through
Okay,
Love
all
Cars,
going
just
well.
doing
The
perf
departure
data.
routing will be via the ATC assigned SID,
Hopefully you can hear
complying with
everything
all
she's
published
saying.
speed
They're
and
saying.
altitude restrictions. No noise abatement procedures required. Flight directors are on.
He's just running her through a
Mine is
departure brief,
master.
obviously.
Yours is slave. Navigation radios are set. The NOTAMs and the aircraft defect log have been reviewed. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
No questions.
Departure brief complete.
Okay, he says departure brief complete. Now what I'm hoping I don't know that she's going to set any of this up for me, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it myself. That was 6,000. And as I said, I swear she actually set this for me the last flight, but I don't know. Some of the stuff, like I said, I'm still trying to work through. I'm going to leave that for a minute because I swear she did. I don't know what point she did, though, is the problem. Okay, we're getting this all worked out. It's going to be 132. As I said, I'm trying to go fast, but I don't want to miss anything at the same time here, so bear with me. Alright, so now, she's sitting here ready for this, so let's do that. Before start, originating checklist. Before start, originating checklist.
Logbook.
Aboard.
Landing gear pins.
3 aboard.
Fire warning and overheat.
Checked.
Start levers.
Cutoff.
Stab trim cutout switches.
Normal.
Lights test.
Checked.
FMC.
Programmed.
Briefings.
Complete.
Oxygen masks and quantity.
Checked.
EEC.
On.
Navigation switches.
Normal.
Display switches.
Auto. Normal. Auto and normal.
Fuel.
Oh, let's see. this one's kind of weird. She doesn't really respond very well. We were cleared with 9.9. We got, okay, 9.8 cleared with 9.9 center pumps off. 9.8 cleared with 9.9 center pumps off. Yeah, she don't like that very much. Set and checked. Set and checked.
Passenger signs.
On.
Window heat.
On.
Hydraulic pumps.
A's off, B's on.
Pressurization.
Yep, she didn't do it. So we'll just do it. I swear she did it once for me before. We'll figure this out. Set and auto. Set and auto. Sorry, set auto. Well, it should be set and auto, but set auto. Set auto. Set and checked.
Flight instruments.
3018 and 3018 set.
Auto brake.
RTO.
Takeoff warning horn.
Checked.
Parking brake.
Set.
Transponder.
TARA. She's going to say no. TARA. TARA.
Aileron and rudder trim.
Centered.
Before start originating checklist completed.
So obviously she didn't do that. That's her job. So there's a few things. Yep, I'm writing these things down though as we go. Okay, I think everything is programmed, set. We're ready to go. So let's do before push checklist. Before push checklist.
0 fuel weight.
117.2 set.
Takeoff weight.
127.0 cross-checked.
Key WB remarks.
Reviewed.
N1s.
56/24 reduced set.
Runway.
1 right set.
Flaps.
PWB1, I'm sorry, let's do this. PWB5, CDU5. Of course I talked too much, so I screwed her up. PWB5, CDU5. PWB5, CDU5.
V speeds.
126, 128, 132 set.
Stabilizer trim.
.2 set.
Minimum cleanup altitude.
1026 set.
Flight deck door.
Lights out.
Before push checklist completed.
So it's pretty cool. There's still some things, like I said, but we're gonna get this worked out with these guys. We'll just go straight out here. Pushback procedure.
Go ahead.
Pushback procedure.
Pushback and start straight back. Roger that. Ready for push straight back.
So you can see she did her packs, did the ACE, the anti-collision light. It's pretty cool. Got yourself an FO here. I can even make her start the engines. Now, it says start sequence is 2 then 1, which is correct. And I don't think I had a problem with that last time, so we'll do it that way. So here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Start
if we could have
engine
your
number
attention
2.
for just a moment, we'd like to point
Starting
out the
engine
safety
2.
features of our
There
Boeing
she goes. She's going to start the engines for
737-700.
me.
A safety information card is in the seat back or literature pocket in front
Oil
of you.
pressure.
To fasten your seatbelt, slide the flat end into
Obviously,
the buckle.
she's doing her
Pull the loose
call-outs
strap to
properly
tighten.
here.
To release, lift up on the buckle. Position your seatbelt tight and low across your hips, and where at
She
any
does get
time
the
you
max
are seated.
motoring here, and then
There
she
are
brings
6
the lever out of
emergency
cutoff.
exits, 2 forward exit doors, 2 overwing window
is fine.
exits,
As
and
long as
2
she's doing
exit
it, I don't
doors in
care.
the back. Signs overhead and lights on the floor lead to exits. If an evacuation is necessary, follow flight attendant commands and leave everything. This aircraft is equipped with life rafts. One life raft is located in the forward ceiling compartment, and 2 life
Her light off
rafts are
call is
located
late.
in the
It
ceiling
should be
compartment
right
at
already.
mid-cabin.
I've already
In
done.
the event of a water
And she's like
evacuation,
way
use the
hot
life
before
vest
she
under
says
your
light
seat.
off.
Remove the vest only if told to do so. Pull the red strap to open the container and remove the pouch.
Pushback.
Remove the vest from the pouch as shown on the safety information card.
I'll set the
Place
brake
the
as
vest
he
over your
asked.
head. Wrap the strap around your waist, buckle it in the front, and pull
My
to
garbage
tighten.
scenery here at
Once
Tampa. I am
outside,
running
pull down on the red
Light
FS2
off.
strap to
injector,
inflate
so
the
I got
vest.
some
To manually inflate,
aircraft here.
blow into the tube at your shoulder. Your vest has a light that turns on automatically
Roll
in the
back.
water. Please refer to the safety information
Alright,
card
she
for
did
use
her
of a life vest on an
isolate,
infant.
ventilate.
Flight
Good for
attendants will
her. She
distribute
kept it in
additional vests
continuous.
if
I mean,
needed.
she's just
We are
doing a
coming
great
by
job.
to check that your seatbelt
As I
is
said,
fastened,
there's some
your
things,
seat
there's some
back and
quirky
tray
things, but
table
once you get
are
off
in
the
the full
gate,
upright and
it's
locked position,
pretty
and your
darn good.
carry-on items are completely under the seat, in front of you
Alright.
or in an overhead
Start
bin,
engine
leaving
number
the area
1.
from your seat clear. Smoking is not allowed
Start
on board,
engine number 1.
including the lavatories. The use
Starting
or charging
engine
of
1.
electronic cigarettes
She's
is
usually not this
prohibited.
finicky, and maybe
Federal
because
law
I'm recording
prohibits
the voice
tampering
at the
with,
same time here.
disabling, or destroying any smoke
Oil
detector
pressure.
in an aircraft lavatory. It is also prohibited to consume alcohol that
Hopefully
you
you
have
can hear the
brought
Love
with you
Cars
on this
announcements in
flight.
the background.
Federal
Hopefully you can hear her
aviation
this whole
regulations
time.
require
I didn't really
passenger
test this
compliance with
prior.
the lighted passenger information signs, posted placards, and crew
But
member
again,
instructions,
she
including
says she's
information
doing
on
her
seatbelts and
regular
smoking.
start. She's doing the action,
If
so
needed,
she's starting the
4
engine, and
oxygen
then it'll
masks will
cycle
drop from a
automatically,
compartment
and I'll
overhead.
leave this here so
To
you can see
activate the
what's
flow
going
of
on.
oxygen, pull down on the mask
She's
until the
obviously just
plastic
starting the
tubing is
engines for
fully
me here.
extended. Place the mask over your nose and mouth and breathe normally. Secure the mask with the elastic strap.
There's a few
Although
things too you're going to
oxygen will
notice
be
too, like when
flowing,
I get
the
off the
plastic
ground for
bag
the
may not
takeoff, you know,
inflate.
normally at
Continue
1,000
wearing
feet
the
we'd say
mask
set
until
speed, climb
otherwise
thrust.
notified by a crew member. If
I
you
gotta
are
be careful what I
traveling
say
with
here, she'll
children or
actually do it.
anyone needing special assistance, put it on your
That's a
mask
little
first.
goofed. Like she gives you
Please
max
remove
climb
any
thrust
face
right away,
coverings
so
before
I'm
donning
not
an
going to do
oxygen mask.
that
We are here for
on
your
this
comfort and
takeoff.
safety. Please report any unwelcome behavior
Some of
to
the
a
other
flight
notes that
attendant.
I've got written
Thank you for
down.
your attention. Now sit back,
It's just some
relax, and
Light
enjoy
off.
your 1 hour and 5 minutes flight
like
to
for
Fort
instance,
Lauderdale.
before takeoff,
Welcome
would be like,
aboard.
I have to say, I can't
Roll
just say
back.
off for the anti-ice. So here she goes. Look, now she thinks so this is a little goofy. I don't know why. You know, it even says, you know, normal flow is 2 then 1. But they've got that backwards for some reason, so I'll see if I can get them to fix that too. I should be able to just jump right into the after start procedure with any luck. After start procedure. And if not, I can force it here. Let's try. And she is doing her thing up here. I can hear it all, right? She's flipping switches. She doesn't put this
Standing by flaps.
hydraulic pump on for some reason. I don't know why. That drives me nuts. So we'll see if we can get them to fix that too. But her flow, she got the engine generators on. She doesn't turn off the APU. And I mostly think that just has to do with the programmers aren't sure. This guy's going to run me over. I don't think the programmers are sure whether you're going to want a single engine taxi or what your intentions are. So they've got that. Just turn it off yourself once you decide. But she got her lights. She's got the logo. She flipped off her wheel. Well, that's cool. She does not throw this to left. That's fine. But she is sitting here saying standing by flaps. At that point would be TARA. I don't know if she did that or not. Anyway, flaps 5. Control check.
Control check.
Before taxi checklist.
Electrical.
I'll do the control check for her. Generators on.
Probe heat.
On.
Anti-ice.
Engine anti-ice off.
Double check that, please.
Interesting. Anti-ice off. Anti-ice off.
Flight controls.
Free.
Flight deck windows.
Closed and locked.
Flaps.
CDU 5 indicates 5, green light. CDU 5 indicates 5, green light.
Before taxi checklist completed.
Alrighty. So, yeah. Pretty good job there. Alright. Flip on my taxi light, and I say, clear left. Clear left.
Clear right.
Alright. She says clear right. Someone's already at our gate somehow. Request taxi
Ladies and
clearance.
gentlemen, we've been cleared for
Ground.
departure.
Good morning.
Enjoy your
Southwest. 503. Ready to taxi.
So you can see that I put Southwest 503
Cleared to taxi. Southwest.
in here.
503.
And now she actually refers to that as 503 as opposed to just some random number. But that's, you got to put that in the route page. Get the proper flight number, and then she'll at least refer to it as properly. You can see 503. I didn't put it here. Alright, let's not get violated. And now you can see my next command, and that will kick off her next flow. So we'll do that when we get closer. And I got rid of the, you know, they want they'll have the flight attendant call you back if you do one ding. Obviously for us that's not how that works. So I unchecked that box so that wouldn't be the case. Obviously I didn't do much of a departure briefing or really verify the points in the flight plan or anything in the FMC. I'm just trying to get this going so you guys can see how this whole thing interacts. But they got the checklists imported, all the proper responses for the most part. There's a few that are still a little goofy, like that anti-ice one. I should just be able to say off there. So I'm going to send that over to them too. In the parking checklist, of course, it's just off, and that's correct, because why would you have anything on? There's a few other ones, like here for the in the next checklist I have to say left cont as opposed to continuous, and so I'm going to see if I can get them to change that. They've got continuous in the descent checklist or the approach checklist, but not in the before, you know what. I don't want to say it because she's going to do it. Alright, crossing the runway. Now she's not going to do this. I'm just going to leave hers alone. She won't actually set the lights, the strobes, at any point, sadly. So you'll have to do that yourself too. Maybe when you call for the checklist, we can get them to have her do her lights there. Clear
Checked.
left.
Clear right.
Wow, I wasn't expecting her to say clear right there. That's cool. Clear left.
Clear right.
Huh. I'll be damned. Okay, so I'm going to say this. Approaching the departure runway. And of course, it shows me what my flow would be at that point. So I pushed the button, I did the throttle burst, APU as required. See, so at that point, they're just leaving it out so that, you know, you can just turn it off when you're done with it, when you decide that you're done. So I did that. Nice shadow. So I did the one ding. Now I didn't hear my flight attendant's response, so let's do it again. Maybe it was just a bug with love cars. Before takeoff checklist.
Minimum takeoff fuel.
Verified.
Departure plan.
Not required.
Attendant notification.
Complete.
Electrical.
Generators on.
Anti-ice.
Anti-ice off.
Packs.
Auto.
Bleeds.
Engines on. APU off.
Start switches.
Left cont.
APU.
Off.
Flaps.
CDU 5 indicates 5, green light.
Start levers.
Idle.
Recall.
Checked.
Before takeoff checklist completed.
You have to press that yourself. Request takeoff clearance. Request takeoff clearance.
Tower, southwest, 503. Ready for departure.
Hopefully you can hear that.
Cleared for departure. Southwest, 503.
Okay, so you can see they got more hints and clues, and this is the next thing I'm supposed to say to trigger her. So we'll do that. Runway 1 right, verified, final is clear.
Final is clear.
She responds, final is clear. Alright, my lights are on. As I said, there's no point, I believe, at which she will put her lights on. I'll roll out here just to be sure. I've never seen her actually put her own lights on. She'll do mine. I don't want her to. Again, I could probably say, and she'll probably respond. Oopsie. Clear left. Or not. It's not a call there anyway. Alright, let's stop for a second. Check my thrust setting because I already forgot. 88. I'm going to put her lights on. And here we go. I had some weird instance where the auto throttles turned off, and I thought maybe she was doing it, but this time it didn't happen, so I don't know. Set takeoff thrust 88.0. Set takeoff thrust 88. She doesn't respond. She just does it. It cycles to the next thing.
80 knots.
There's an aircraft here on the runway. That's great. Disregard. Wow.
E1.
V1. Rotate.
That's your FSLTL for you. Landing gear up.
Positive rate landing gear up.
Now, if I was to say the thrust thing, she'd go max blast, and I don't want her to. So you would normally say set speed and climb, blah. But I don't want her to do that, so I'm just going to do that myself. Open the speed window, set up bug. Put my autopilot on. And now my next command for her, even though it doesn't say here, I can do, actually does right here. Oh, I should have said flaps 1. Flaps 1.
Flaps 1.
She'll do it, of course. Forgot I was doing a 5 takeoff, my bad. Flaps up.
Flaps up.
But you can see how she does all this, right? She even does cleanup. Look at this. She did that a little early, but she did the auto brake and the gear for you. She even did my lights, which I don't much care for. The taxi light and the retractables, which that's fine, whatever. Alright, we'll get our vector. I am going to try this. Climb thrust. I don't know if she's going to do that. Set speed, climb thrust.
One to go.
Could have swore when I did that previously she was doing this for me automatically. Maybe I'm crazy. Alright, let's keep the climb going. All the way to cruise, which was 25. Intervene it, close the window, let's go. First fix. Gandy. Execute. LNAV. And actually I could even say, or I'll go back to heading. Let's roll it over here a little bit. And I can say, engage LNAV.
LNAV.
She'll do it. Talk to her. There may be a command for this thrust thing. I was saying the normal callouts and she was giving it to me right away, I think. So, careful about that. Could be wrong on that. Anyway, I like it. You know, she did her cleanup. She'll do this. We'll do our 10, our 18s, all this, and it's pretty slick from here on out. I think once they get this polished and get the rest of the commands and such. So here we're coming up on 10, and it's going to say, it's going to give you a trigger here at 10. There it is. 10,000 feet. 10,000 feet. I'll do my flow. Climb checklist.
Pressurization.
Checked.
Ladies and gentlemen, use of
Start
all portable
switches.
electronic
Off.
devices is now permitted in
APU.
airplane mode
Off.
with cellular functions.
Climb
turned off.
checklist
In a
completed.
few moments, we will
That
be
was
coming
nearly
through to
flawless
take your
there.
drink orders.
I think sometimes
We
I
will be
speak a
serving
little too slowly
complimentary
for
soft
her.
drinks,
Sometimes you
juice,
have to, and
and
sometimes
coffee.
you can speak too
Beer,
slow.
wine,
So,
and liquor are available for purchase or with a valid drink coupon. There is a beverage
so you
menu
hear
in
they
your
love
seat
cars.
back
They're
pocket,
making
or
their
you may go to
PA out
the
of 10.
Southwest
Here we
beverage
go.
menu on the in-flight
Just
entertainment
picked a
portal
short flight here for you,
southwestwifi.com,
Tampa
where
to
these options are
Lauderdale, so
displayed.
it's not a super long
Please be
video.
mindful of the flight attendant serving you in the aisle and remain seated while the fasten seatbelt sign is on. We have lavatories in the front and back of the aircraft. The sign on the ceiling indicates whether the lavatory is
I'm
occupied.
going to test a couple things
Please do
here
not
too
form
as
a
far as
line at
setting
the
up the
forward
approach
lavatory.
because
Your safety will always
she's
be our
supposed
number
to set
one
some of
priority,
that for
so
you.
please don't hesitate to let us know
And I know
if you
that
have
there's
other
other
needs
things
we
that
can
you can
take
do,
care
like
of.
for instance, set my course 054. See if I can get her to do it. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Set my course 054. Yeah, more than likely I'm saying it wrong. There is a cheat sheet command thing here somewhere. I can find. I found it once before. Here it is. Voice control commands. So you got all this stuff here. This is everything you can say just anytime you want. Ah, I had to say on my side. So it's very specific. Let's get the actual course here at Lauderdale. Set course on my side 09 or 6.
0, 9, 6.
So
Set.
she'll do it. There's a lot of cool stuff that she'll do for you. It's just you got to have the right, you know, voice command. So here we go. We're coming up on 18. Here she says, right, or what she wants me to say, 18,000 feet standard set. And she took it. I heard some clicks. I think she turned her lights. She got the logo. She got the wing. So, I mean, she does some of her lights. She does these lights for me after takeoff, but she won't do those for me at 18. I don't want her to do any of them on my side, but it is what it is right now. Just showing you guys what this looks like in a preview so far. Right now, so far it's great. And right now, she's got nothing for me. It does show up my flow would be standard lights, lights, and then I can do this next, and I'm going to do that next here. This one right here at the bottom, and I'll show you what that's all about here in a second. But what I want to do is I want to do my landing first. Planning 10 left. I'm going to uplink up. I can't. That's for takeoff only. So 30 and then 45. So plus 15. Brakes 2 is good. I'm not going to touch that though because I want her to do it. I'll just show you. But I can set this. So flaps 30. We're going to do 130. can't do it like the real airplane. You gotta do it like this. 130 plus 15.
Check speed.
Check speed, she said. I don't know what that would be about. I don't know. I said something she didn't like. Okay, so we've got the approach here. I know you can voice command her to do these radios and such. I personally think it's just easier to just do this stuff yourself. But you can voice command it. I'm not going to set her course. I don't think she's going to set it. I swear I saw it. I thought she did it once. I've done a few flights now, but I could be crazy. Alright, so let's do everything here. Let's get weather, arrival, Tampa, we're landing east, whether they want us
Checked.
to or not. And then mute her for a second, turn off the voice commands. So we got 3018, set that in standby. Touching down at 7 feet. I'm going to set that in the barrows. So we'll run through the points on the arrival.
1 to go.
She says 1 to go. That's fine. 24 for 25. That's what you're supposed to say. 24 for 25. Barrels set. Course set, frequency set. We got weather, we got data. It's plugged in, so we'll run through this real quick here. The star, and it was the, I already forgot, Tiki. So I'm going to have this on the side here as I look at the fixes here in the FMC. And we're going to start at Savy 28er above 20 at or below 25. Exact, Inks, Peacock, Tiki at or above 12. Banty 250 between 10 and 11. Heasy at or above 7. Hollid at 5, and that's going to be our where we join the approach. 10 left. Hollid, Gamby, Warrior, Nove. Let's check all that. Hollid, Gamby, Warrior, Nove or the runway. I like that in the fix. Descent, I'm going to bump to 250. I'm going to bump this to 300 because I want to go fast. I'm even going to bump this up to 7.4. Why not? Now that is going to change my descent, so I'm going to, oh, it didn't, disregard. Get this video done as fast as we can. Alright, we'll say we're cleared to descend via, that was Hollid at 5. So now that we're at 25, we'll set 5 in the path. Obviously you're doing all this prior to trying to do all your briefings and such, right? So we do our quick brief here. ILS 10 left is visual back to pilots 10-1. I got that in both sides. 096, I'm going to purposely leave hers wrong. 7-foot touchdown zone. Happy on the left. Tower sign missed, but we'll set 4 as new policy here, which is on the chart here, 4,000 feet.
From the flight deck, we have reached our cruising altitude of 25,000 feet.
Plan a
We are expecting a smooth ride and will turn off the seat belt sign.
right turn off, probably around Bravo 7 or Bravo 8 or even Bravo 9. Touch down the first 3,000 feet. We'll use the markers. There's a ramp frequency, of course, but we're not going to be talking to anybody like that in this. Let's see, anything I missed? I'm not going to set the brakes. It's going to be flaps 30, probably brakes 3. I think that's what it showed here for my... Oh, I didn't activate the flight, did I not? Wait a minute. Yeah, I did. Okay, thank God. What was I thinking? Landing performance, we had 30-45 with flaps 3. We'll do brakes 2, which is actually going to put me at 2,300 feet as opposed to 3,000 feet. And then the purposes of that, or why I'm saying all this, is because now I can come in here and I can do a briefing right here. And so we're going to approach brief via a star, dry runway. I can set all this stuff. Missed approach altitude, what I say off that chart was 4,000. So hopefully you can hear them do all this. ILS, auto brakes 3, flaps 30, single to taxi, no. Final sector, just leave that no. It affects how she does the hydraulic pumps window heat. I found no, it works. Bleeds on, we're going to go to the gate, minimum altitude. Since it's a visual, we're just going to put 7. And I'm going to say run brief.
Are you ready for the approach brief?
Okay.
The arrival routing will be via the ATC assigned star, complying with all published speed and altitude restrictions. For an ILS approach, planning a flaps 30 landing, decision altitude is 7 feet. Missed approach altitude is 4,000 feet. Taxi route in will be as assigned by ATC. Will be arriving at a gate. Descent speeds and navigation radios are set. Airport NOTAMs have been reviewed. Any questions, comments or concerns?
No questions.
Approach brief complete.
So now it says set up according approach brief. Now she's going to do some stuff. I don't know what she's doing exactly. She's playing with the FMC, I noticed. I don't know what else she does in this. That's actually a question I want to ask those guys. Like, what else does she actually do? Now, presumably, it's off of this dock, and so she's going to set up, you know, maybe it's... But I haven't seen that she actually does anything other than she'll reset your flaps, your approach speed, and I don't want her to do that because I've got it set up for 30, but she would go in here and she would actually delete this out, and I don't know why. So I don't know what else she actually does. So now I'm going to go ahead and just set her to 96. I honestly don't know what else she does in her flow, so we'll just skip that. And we'll move on to the next thing. And I found the way to cycle this best is to simply say, I have control. I'm sorry.
You have control.
I should have said, oh, okay, well usually you'd say you have control. And then you do the approach briefing. And if you don't do it like this, you just say, any questions? She'll say, no questions. And then it will cycle to this. So that's actually perfect. That's fine. Descent checklist.
Minimums.
Set.
V ref and V target.
130, 130, correction, 130 and 145 set. I goofed her up. 130 and 145 set.
Auto brake.
3 set.
Recall.
Checked.
Descent checklist completed.
Alright. So she ran all that well. You can see she did actually set 3 for me. So according to that approach brief, she did set auto brakes 3. I don't think she'll set the barrow. I don't know what else she does. But she will set that for you, according to your approach brief, which is cool. She'll goof up your flaps, your approach speed, unless you uncheck this box. FO sets ref. She'll goof up your speeds. So I found just turn that off. But I love the way she runs the checklists, the way the responses work. I love her flows. Her after landing flow is flawless. It's super cool. So hopefully maybe after we vacate the runway, I'll turn off, I'll set the brake, and then I'll look up here and you can just watch her do it. It's really neat. Let's see, what else can I tell you? So, there's a couple call-outs, commands that are wrong. For instance, on the approach check, she's going to want me to say set for the altimeters. In reality, we say 3018 set, not just set. So I'm going to pass that along to them. Also in the approach, like, it's going to want me to just say continuous. In reality, we say left continuous or right continuous. So these are things I'm just going to pass on to those guys. The approach sequence only has flaps 1. So and I've got her muted, otherwise she'd have gone flaps 1 right now. It only has flaps 1. I want them to add so that the sequence is flaps 5. To get this thing process and sequence properly, you have to go flaps 1, then flaps 5, even if you want flaps 5. So just say flaps 1, pause a second, flaps 5. I don't know if they can fix that or change that or not. Passing through 10,000 feet up or down, I want her to say 10,000 feet. Currently she doesn't. And then also you can't just do landing gear without doing landing gear down flaps 15. So we'll see if they can fix that. At 1,000 feet AGL, I'd like for her to say 1,000 feet. Right now she doesn't. Her shutdown flow, she doesn't actually open up the APU bleed and turn the packs on and set the ISO valve to open. So you got to do that yourself. And the transponder, she doesn't set zeros in the parking checks, which is not a big deal, but we'll see if we can get them there. As I said, this is just a preview. I just want to show you guys what it looks like so far, and so far I think it's great. As I said, the checklist usage, the responses, and all that stuff is pretty fantastic. And the fact that she'll do the flows for you and flips all these switches is just incredible. I love it. So right now the whole thing is just great. We'll keep an eye on her lights and see what she does up here when we start the descent flow at 18. She ought to throw on her wing light. She may or may not throw on a logo. I don't know how they got it programmed, but we'll see. This is kind of fun to watch. So we're getting there.
On the flight deck, we have started our initial descent.
Okay, Cap's making
We
his
expect to be on the ground in
arrival
about
PA.
20 minutes or
Good for
so.
him.
Thank you for flying Southwest
What a
Airlines.
guy, because I forgot. Too busy with other stuff. But yeah, you'll see. So obviously the next thing is going to be our 18,000 feet here. So at 18, watch what happens up here. It kind of gives you some reminders. It'll show you what the flow is. So they did a great job. It's certainly coming along. Of course, if you want to redo any of your checklists, you could simply say it. I've got her muted right now, so she's not listening. But you could again say descent checklist and run through that whole thing again if you wanted to. The FA with the single ding in the settings, you know, like I said, I got her shut off because I don't want her responding when I just do my 10,000 foot calls, my 10,000 foot dings. See, my next restriction is 250 at Banty. I'm a little fast, so I don't care. Actually, I do care. It was supposed to be 280 at one of those fixes, so we'll help it out a little. I'm glad to see PMDG accelerated the movement of that just by holding your mouse button. It used to be painfully slow. Alright, coming up on 18, so 3018 is set. We'll go continuous here and turn on the lights. We'll see what they do here. I'm very curious. And I will activate her again and I will say approach checklist.
Altimeters.
Set.
Packs.
Auto.
Start switches.
Continuous.
Approach checklist completed.
Mute her again so she doesn't. Now see the next thing she's looking for is flaps. Obviously I'm not ready for that, but that's what she's looking for next. And as I said, I mean I could redo that checklist if I wanted. So you can basically give any command you want at any time. It did have a flow there. Obviously my lights, she didn't do hers, her wing light, so I'll do that for her. Maybe I can get them to fix that. Maybe with the approach checklist we can have her do that light. And actually, that might be because FO controls the lights. That's on, so I don't know why she didn't do that light there. She should have. But anyway, so far so good. I'll get rid of this. And this is where I was saying, you know, you can't just go flaps 5. She's looking for a sequence. So hopefully we can get them to do add flaps 1 or flaps 5, which then would just skip to landing gear or landing gear down flaps 15. We'll see what we can do there with those guys. And you might have noticed too, you know, that approach checklist. I should have been saying 3018 set as opposed to just set. So I'll see if they can fix that. And then of course it should have been left continuous, not just continuous, for that response. But we'll get there.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we make our final
Alright,
descent
she's already
to
making her
Fort Lauderdale,
10,000 PA.
please stow
That's
laptop
fine. She's
computers
ahead of me.
and similarly sized electronic devices. Small portable electronic devices may continue to be used in airplane mode but must be secured for the remainder of the flight. Please
It
ensure
has
all carry-on items are completely under the seat in
10,000
front of you
descent
or in
here.
an overhead bin, leaving the
I would
area
love
around your
for
feet clear.
the FO to
Please raise
say
your seat back
10,000
and tray
feet.
table to the full upright and locked position
I'm
and
going to ask
fasten your
them to add
seatbelt.
that.
We will come by one last time to pick up cups, cans, newspapers, and any other trash. Thank you.
You'll see it actually, I think it will cycle over here and ask for me to say 10,000 feet. Attendants notified. So they got that. I just want the FO to also say 10,000 feet. Which is a great reminder for you to ding the flight attendants so that they know, you know, you're on final descent. So coming up out of 10 here, we should see something. There it is. So you can see it's cycled over. This is what it wants me to say. I'm supposed to push my attendant button and say 10,000 feet, attendants notified. And so you can see, you know, she didn't respond at all. And I would like for her to say 10,000 feet. And of course it goes back to this here, right? So flaps 1 is our next thing again. Okay, so we'll say at Hollid, we're cleared for the ILS. So, staying ahead of things here. So at Hollid, we're cleared for the ILS, so we'll set 1800 for Nove. We'll just keep it in VNAV path. And then at some point we'll switch over to the Vorlok in the approach mode. And hopefully for the rest of this vid you can see the flow of their program. And you're going to notice some other stuff that's still a problem, but for the most part it's pretty darn good. course, if you're watching the VNAV here, it's going to level Holland at 5. It's got a decel so that it can, because it's looking at 145 at Nove, so it's thinking it needs to start slowing down there. Of course, if I don't like it, I can just open the window, change it to whatever I want. And I like the fixed page because it says I'm 30 miles from the airport. I don't have to do all the mental math gymnastics with all the different leg lengths here. If you really want to get fancy, you can do a 10-mile ring, and then that'll start, you know, for like when you want to start configuring and such. You can see the 10-mile ring, which is around whatever fix that is. Or, you know, so. I suppose we could set up the HUD. So elevation was 7. Length, we'll take off the 10.9A, 10 10 left, landing beyond threshold, 8424. Even though you would get that from the PWB, that's not, this isn't how we actually do that. You get it from the PWB, but this is all I got. And then glide path of 3 degrees. That's pretty much set up. And A3 armed, so it'll automatically switch from primary to A3 mode at the right time. Courses are set, both courses are set, localizer frequencies are set. That's basically it. Obviously, we're talking to approach this whole time. They'd send us over to tower eventually. All right, we're turning on inside a Holland. Cleared approach. If this was an RNAV, I'd be on a published segment of the approach on that VNAV path. Cleared approach, I could zero this out, which now we don't really zero anymore. We would set touchdown zone elevation, round it up, so I'd probably set 100 feet, and then once I'm down below 4,700 feet, I could set, actually no, if I'm setting 4,000, I'd be out of 3,700 feet, I could set 4,000. As my missed approach altitude, but this is an ILS, so we're going to go Vorlok. Capture, approach arm. And it'll intercept the glide slope, obviously. It's looking to be, yeah, 145 by Nove. A3 just went active. There it is, A3 mode. It's going to say A3 over here. If I get an approach warning, it would also show up over there. The FO would tell me to go around. But clearly it's visual, so if I get a warning, I'm just going to continue. We're over to tower, let's say, cleared to land. FO would usually throw on the wing, or sorry, the wheel well light. Glide slope's captured, so I can set my missed approach altitude 4,000.
1 to go.
Flaps 1. Oop, what's that? Okay, I got to activate her again. What in the heck? Flaps 1. course.
Flaps
This is
1.
all captured, so I'm in control of the speed. Flaps 5. I just love how you can now talk to them or her and use your FO.
Flaps 5.
Now here's where I don't like that you can't do just landing gear down without landing gear down. Flaps 15. I've got her muted. Now I could just throw it myself. But I'm doing okay right now. I'm a smidge fast, but I'm still 8 miles out. Clear to land, roll it up. I'm just going to set target and configure on speed, which is 145. As soon as I get flaps 15 speed, 195. I'm actually on profile. I go landing gear down, flaps 15, 2000 AGL, so 2007 is about where I want to do that, and that'll work out real nice right about here. I got flap speed. So, landing gear down, flaps 15.
Flaps 15. Landing gear down.
Of course, she's doing it all for me. I love it. Now our next sequence is 30, but you can go momentarily 25, so I'm looking for 165, or the bottom of the amber band. Just want to make sure I have that by 1,000 feet, which is coming up. Flaps 30. Before landing checklist.
Flaps 30. Speed brake.
Armed green light.
Landing gear.
Down 3 green.
Flaps.
30 green light.
Before landing checklist completed.
Here's where I wish she would say 1,000 feet. My response would be 1,000 feet, airspeed 150, sync rate 800. The FO leads with that call, so I'd like to get them to add that. Hopefully I don't crush this thing on. Apparently the winds are going to do some squirrely stuff. I may get a A3, I may get an approach warn with the A3. I don't know what the winds are doing.
500.
Obviously the HUD and the runway don't line up perfectly. Usually it doesn't, sadly. The rest of it's pretty good though. Aiming for the 1,000 footers. Clearly I'm gonna go a little past them. I round out and flare.
10.
Extended. Deployed.
She does not say auto brake disarm, sadly. So we can get him to fix that.
60 knots.
Alright, I'll vacate right here. And I'm gonna
On behalf
stop
of the flight crew and
before I
Southwest
tell her
Airlines,
to do her
welcome
thing.
to Fort Lauderdale.
Usually, I
Please
got her
remain
muted.
seated
Usually I
with
would say
your seatbelt
flaps up
fastened,
right
seat
here.
back and
Put her
tray
in the
table
side
in their
stripe.
full
I'm gonna
upright
wait.
and locked position, and
So I
all
want you all
carry-on
to see
items
her do
completely
her
under the
thing.
seat in
It's
front
pretty
of you.
cool.
When the captain turns off the fasten seatbelt sign,
clear.
please be careful when opening the overhead bin. Items may have
We're gonna
shifted during
stop,
flight and could fall out.
clear, get the
You may
tail
now use the
clear,
cellular function of your small portable electronic devices, but please remain
set
seated
the
and leave
brake.
your
All
carry-on
I'm gonna
stowed.
do is the
Please be
HUD, and I'm
advised
gonna
the aircraft
say
doors will be open during ground servicing. For your safety,
flaps
please
up.
ensure that you and any children you are supervising remain clear of the
Here she
front and
goes.
back
She's got the
doors.
flaps.
If
She's
you are
got the auto
connecting here
brake.
to another Southwest flight,
She
please
started
check
the
the monitors in
APU.
the terminal for your
She got
flight
the
and gate
igniters.
number.
Window
We
heat.
certainly have enjoyed
Probe
sharing
heat.
part of our day with you. We
She
know
just
you have a
kills it
choice
on the
when you
after
fly,
landing
and we
flow.
thank you for choosing Southwest Airlines.
And she even does your trim, which is really the captain's job, but that's okay. So we will take it to the gate. And now the next thing she's got
We are
is...
not at 3 minutes yet.
She's not, she warns me about the 3 minutes for the engines. Cooling for shutdown. Take it in here, we'll do the parking, and that'll be it. Nothing about taxi clearances or anything coming in. It doesn't offer that. Oops.
APU on the buses.
She's got me on the bus. She put me on the APU as soon as it was available. She's just a killer FO. Just adore this so far. It's really incredible. And we'll make it even better here as soon as we get these guys to clean up a few things for us. So obviously when I said, you know, the flaps up, all I had to do was stow the speed brake and she did her after landing flow. Sometimes you have to refer to it as a procedure in this to get her to do what you want her to do. Like the, I can't remember, the after start, you have to call it a procedure. Clearly the scenery here is pretty awful. We'll just pick a gate. How about this one? There I see a yellow line. We'll go there. She'd have some tasks at the top of the J line. Oops, I forgot all my lights. My bad. That's when I'd stow the HUD and do the trim wheel as well as my afterflow. Clearing the runway. We'll just stop here. Good enough. She's got me on the bus, which is great. I appreciate her. Engines are down. One on. Seatbelt. She did her thing. Anti-collision light. And the electric's off, which is great. What she doesn't do, though, unfortunately, is the air. So we'll see if we can get them to fix that. And then, parking checklist. Parking checklist. Parking checklist.
Parking brake.
That was my bad. I had her muted. Set.
Start levers.
Cut off.
Fuel pumps.
Now, this should be one on. They don't have that. We'll get that fixed. Off. Off.
Window heat.
Off.
Probe heat.
Auto.
Anti-ice.
Off.
Hydraulic pumps.
Electrics off.
Start switches.
Off.
Oil quantity.
I don't know why she does this. I'm going to see if they can fix that too. Stop playing with my engine stuff. 64%. 64%.
Hydraulic quantity.
99%.
Radar.
Test.
Transponder.
Standby and zeros.
Parking checklist completed.
Okay. Well, that's it. Obviously in that, they got it goofed. You have to have these on to say auto. And they need to fix that. You have to have all the pumps off to say electric's off. Otherwise, she'll say check that. So we'll get that fixed. And then I'll see if I can get them to set zeros here too. But otherwise, that's it. For for the most part, it's really good. I'm really impressed with it, and it'll only get better from here.